Let's start streaming, see what we got. Hey, get back over here to the YouTubes. See if the YouTubes is live. Got an excellent connection. Got audio. That's good. We have a lot of things that I like. How about that? All right. So, would wait for CouchBot to fire, but I think we've got to leave the station. I think we've got to move it on along. How are you folks doing? All right. Just checking a few things out before we go. I've got Bren's work up here. I've got Maddie's work up here, and I've got to make sure I'm looking at the right thing over here on Eve. She just sent her work in. I have not quite sure I'm looking at the right thing. So survey screener survey questions. All right, here's my research plan. Okay. Oh, screener survey. Okay. Okay. I think we've got what we need. The good news here is that it looks like CouchBot's already fired. And because CouchBot has already fired, which is great news, and we hit the milestone, that's also fantastic news. Was not aware we busted over the 800 mark. So we're going to leave the station, and we're going to be damn glad we did. Happy holidays! Greeting everyone. Let's start that over. That was terrible. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. Time for the feedback loop. Happy holidays. We've officially entered that season. Although it's not December yet, let's just go with it. Happy holidays wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying the best that 2020 has to offer. Today, we're coming on the backside of the... we're right on the backside of Thanksgiving, and we've got 3 students in here today, which is great because I got to be honest with you, a lot of people like they're full of turkey and not quite ready to plug back in. But Bren's here, Maddie's here, and Eve's here, so we've got a lot of people moving through. Everybody is in a uniquely different spot. Eve is on a project, Maddie's working on some portfolio stuff, and Bren is definitely in the midst of some UX work. So we're going to take a look at all of that right now. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's get this underway. Yeah, there it is. I'll have to edit that little piece out. Yeah, let's start right here with Bren. So Bren's got our microcopy turned in, and there's a few things that Bren's clearly focusing on here. Keep in mind we're in wireframe mode, so we're not really focused on the alignment and things like that. We're looking for the content, and what Bren's got here as it currently stands. This is her assignments dashboard, but she's put microcopy in here to help somebody out if they've just set up their account and they're needing to begin the process of loading this thing up with assignments. They don't currently have any assignments. So she's said click plus to create your first assignment. That's logically the thing that I would want you to do. She's also clearly trying to tell me that everything else would be dark here or darker, so that popped up. Bren, I might even go through and you could change the color on the button And obviously, if you had a color, you'd probably make it show there. You could also make it glow if you wanted to. Like you could do something to highlight and bring us to that area. But the copy is what we're focusing on right now, and I think you did a good job there. Forms are also another area where it's very important to make sure that people know what you're expecting. Assignment name. What do you want to call this? I think that's fine. You could also say give your assignment a title. Any number of things could be used there. I also like the fact that you've been very specific about you're looking for the numerical date, the written month, and the numerical year. Whatever your format there is, I'm not judging. I do think that it's good to have the date, whatever format it is, listed there so people know if they want to write it in, they know how. URLs, select file, start typing. These are all good examples. Now I see start typing. Start typing. What are the requirements? That's kind of interesting. Maybe instead of start typing, it should be provide a short introduction to the short introduction to the assignment. Here it could be provide a list of requirements. Also, the language here, next, publish. That's very important because here you're moving forward. And here you could say finish, but finish doesn't tell you that, oh, this is going live. Publish tells you it's going live. So that could be a very beneficial thing if you hit save draft. Well, no, that would be if you hit the X, then you would get the yes, I want to exit. And you could still save draft. I don't necessarily know if... yeah, it's interesting because if I didn't want to exit, wouldn't save draft basically do the same thing? So I'm wondering if yes, I want to exit, and the other one could be no, I want to continue. I would say cancel, but cancel seems it's that language thing where it sounds very close to exit. So which one is it? Cancel. Oh God, I canceled it. So I'd want to be very declarative. Yes, I want to continue in this flow. Down here you've got some error text. So please, if here's what happens if you don't select, because these are required fields. Please choose a subject. Please enter a name. You can always change it later. You forgot the date. You forgot the due date. I also want to mention that I like where these are showing up. I hate it when these things show up all the way at the bottom. Putting it next to the label makes a lot of sense. Oops, please provide some details. You can edit that later. Now, resource attachments might be one where you would end up having to have an error message. So, for instance, if you entered, and we'll do resource material too. If you entered a URL but it wasn't a valid URL, you might want to throw up an error message. Doesn't look like a valid URL, for instance. It could be missing the dot whatever at the end. It could be garbled. I don't know, but even though it's optional, there could be a reason why you'd want to return an error message. Same thing for resource attachments. If resource attachments was limited to a particular file type, that could be another thing where, even though it's optional, it's a warning that, oh, the system only takes a certain type of file. The URL has to be complete because it's got to then, whatever the system's got to make that available somewhere else, and there are limitations. So that might be something to think about and that makes sense. That seems very optional, although it could be a file type thing. And please select the classroom or create a new one. Yeah, so I got to be honest with you, this is all pretty good, aside from a couple of things where they're, like on optional fields. Even on optional fields, I would consider that there might be the need to include some guidance there. But overall, I think that this is pretty good. I think you've entered in a lot of great microcopy that would help somebody along filling out that form. Also, a lot of really helpful guidance on the error messages that would go along with it. Just a couple of more there, and I think you're good to go to move forward. Let's go over here to Maddie, and I'm going to jump in because Maddie is working on the hero section, and it's basically she's just kind of trying to get her hands around the process of working through, kind of working with typography and building this first section. I am curious about this. Yeah, so this is a situation where it's real easy to accidentally put that apostrophe in there and this is more of a tick mark. An apostrophe, if you use Shift, Option, and close bracket, you'll get a more appropriate apostrophe, the curl. That is something that a lot of people miss. So I would definitely do that. So again, that Shift, Option, close bracket, it's right below the plus sign if you're wondering which close bracket. But anyway, Shift, Option, close bracket there. Now, the other thing I look at here, and I love the fact we didn't even really see it. So I'll refresh. I'll have to put that apostrophe back in there. Yes, I'm going to leave the page. So I want everybody to see Maddie has a fade in on this, and the fade in is pretty cool. So let's see what she's doing. So this fade in, she's got an animation on this. So you've included like all of these WebKit. So this is WebKit. This is Mozilla. This is Opera, and this is Microsoft. I am not even sure you need these browser-based prefixes at this point. You may have looked this up online. We haven't used a lot of these in a while. What I want to do is I want to go to Can I use animation, and this is going to give us an idea of where it's supported. So can I use Firefox has supported this basically since 2011. IE didn't support it until 2012. Opera doesn't support it Opera Mini doesn't support it at all, but nobody uses Opera. And then yeah, like I think you can lose the prefixes overall. Everybody's had support for that animation. And this is like Can I Use is a fantastic resource to have available. I'm going to actually drop it into the Discord channel, just so everybody has it. Things everyone should have bookmarked, or something everyone should have bookmarked. Can I use? When you go to Can I Use and you have a bunch of reds and whatnot, that's when browser prefixing is really, really good. Unprefixed, 97% of the web is using it unprefixed. So you're not going to break anything using it this way, but it's not really necessary at this point. The other thing I would look at, and you've got a class, the span with strike through. That's a really nice use of an inline design element. The other thing I would really look at is I would look at like the spacing here, and I'm going to come back and put that there. A lot of this comes down to the old box model. So for this H1, and I'm just going to see what you got here as far as the H1 goes. Doesn't look like there's much called on the H1 at all. I see body P, content P. Oh, and the H1's down here. So we might want to do a little cleanup on like the arrangement here. But here's where I would say margin bottom. I just want to see what 0 gets me first. So by setting it 0, I begin to bring these two together. I'm also going to look at what you have called on P to see if there's any margin to the top. There isn't. So now I'm margin top 0. And you can kind of see, like, I've taken the margins out from between those two things, and now that's bringing them closer together. I could also say 1M, if I wanted to keep it just aligned with your M usage. I could do something like that, but that's so far removed from where this was just a second ago. And I'm going to come through. I want to open this up in another code pen, because I like comparing these things, and it's really easy to do if you have two of them to work with. So here's where you started at, and that's where we're at. And it's just the reduction of the margin between the margins. The margin comes with this, okay? And a lot of this could be reset. And the way that I would go through and reset it here would be simply to come into the little sprocket and add reset. When I close that, that's going to automatically change the spacing here. Didn't do anything because you've declared all of your typographical styles, but you haven't declared like the margin you want on this. And the reset just like it zeroes everything out. So so that's an important thing to realize. And typically when we're writing our HTML and CSS in a real project, we would have a reset included. On the exercises you've worked through, there's always a reset included there. So just know that you've had, it's been there the whole time. You just, because you've created a new code pin here, you haven't called that reset in. And again, it's right there under the sprocket reset. You could also use normalize. It's fine. Also, there's an auto prefixer that will do all of this work for you if you want to do the prefixing. But for me, for my money, the real trick is coming in and saying, hey, you know what? I want margin top 1M, getting that spacing that you might want here. Hello now is a little close, and actually I don't know if it wants to be 1M. It might want to be 0.5M. And then we need to see what this hello is. It's H6, and the H6 is, trying to find it. Yeah, it's all the way down here at the bottom. I would reorganize this. I would put my H1, H6, or P class. I'd put all the type together just so it's a little easier to find. And here I would say, margin bottom, and that would be 1M. And again, that's going to push it apart a bit, but because it's so small, it kind of needs that extra bit of space right next to something that's got a lot more weight to it. And again, shift option close bracket to get that apostrophe back in there. So really like it. It's definitely coming along, but you can see the difference. It really comes down to the spacing, okay? And in some ways, you could do what I was doing over here, and you could like say margin 0, but it's easier just to reset and rip all those margins out, and then go back in and place that extra spacing where you want it. Okay, but as far as like the typographic style, just look out for little things like the apostrophe, and then really I think this is nice. Otherwise, you've got nice contrast between these two that are paired up together. It really comes down to, can we get the spacing to where it's a little more of a unit. Okay. All right, and Eve, we're going to circle back to you. You've got a screener survey. Big thing, always demographics. Throw it to the back. I never ever want to lead with my demographics. I want to always lead with things that are psychographic, like the actions over demographics. Okay. So, as far as the demographics go, while we're here, I don't see anything here that like immediately throws off a red flag. Regarding monetary donations to nonprofit organizations, which of the following best applies to you? Keep in mind, she's doing this for a organization that's trying to seek donations and volunteering. So she's trying to find people who have activity in that space to begin with. Regarding goods donations, which of the following best applies to you? So, donated money, the past year, 2 years. So you're looking at frequency there, which is fine. Okay, so I've never, and I'm not interested in, that's fine. Regarding goods, donated past year. Okay, so this is again kind of it's the same thing, but with instead of money, goods. And now you're asking about volunteering. Same thing, but with time. What is the name of the organization? I would say what was the name, or in like quotes names. What was the name or names of the nonprofit organization? Can you? I'm guessing this is optional. If they've answered this, but then they don't want to answer that, I'm guessing it's okay. But you gotta assume that it might be more than one organization. Or you could say, can you name the most recent organization if you just want to like get it to one? Please rank in the following order. Please rank the following in order. I just reorganized that without even seeing it. Of what is most important to you when donating and volunteering to a nonprofit organization. I would always kind of include an other there in case. Well, okay, I guess. Is there any other information not listed in the options above that's important to you when donating? I might just put an other instead of having 11. I might just have there's something else, and that eliminates a question right there. Potential first teacher members. As a parent or caregiver of a child under 6, please rank in the following order what you're most interested in participating in. And again, 13 would be like I would just include it as an other, and then maybe follow up. Yeah, so a couple things. I would roll those others into the preceding question in each case that you've asked. I would also flip the demographics to the back end, and I think otherwise this is pretty good. I think you're oh yeah, there was the one where am I going for multiple organizations or just the one? So if you can get that sorted out, I think you're in a good spot. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for today's edition. All right, that's going to wrap us up for today's edition of the Feedback Loop. So good to be back. So good to have so many great pieces of work to look at. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Bren. Thank you, Eve. And thank you for watching. If you've got any suggestions, comments, put them in the put them down below in the video comments. Also, if you got something out of this video, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing. We do this every day of the week, especially when we have work, and we have a wide selection of videos and tutorials over here on YouTube and at newpragmatic.com. So without further ado, I'm going to bid you adieu. Chris Courtney, Feedback Loop. Take care. See you tomorrow.